we are a microcosm of the universe. So we are made of everything that the whole universe is made up of. So we have elements like fire, ether, air, water, earth, all these things are within us. So everything that we can, gain our health or use for healing will be these 5 ingredients, because that is what goes out of balance, and those exactly same things will help to fix us back to balance and back to health. So thinking that Ayurveda will not work in emergency is a very, very wrong idea. And that's how we all have grown up. If it is emergency, immediately seek help of a doctor, call 911, which is absolutely essential. I'm not denying that. But before that help comes, it takes like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even for the ambulance to come, right? So within that time, what can we do? There are many things that we can help the patient with, and lot of those things work as a first aid. Like one very simple example that all of us growing up in India or even here might have already used is use of turmeric, right? Anytime in the kitchen you get a little bit of a cut, it starts bleeding, and you don't have to go to a doctor. You just take 1 pinch of turmeric from your kitchen and just dab it and seal it with a band-aid or something. In fact, Johnson & Johnson has turmeric bandages in India, right? Yeah, so they have turmeric bandages. I don't know why they're not marketed here, but that was a brilliant idea. So for all these cuts, you can easily get like a complete hemostatic reaction with that turmeric, and it will seal in such a way that nothing ever happens, so it doesn't leave any mark. And turmeric we use for so many other things. Like nowadays, you might have heard it's so popular as an anti-inflammatory. It is used for Alzheimer's. It is used as a cancer prevention and also for treatment of cancer. So many new things, new research has been going on with turmeric. But since ancient times, all our kitchens are very well equipped with all these masala boxes that we have. They have turmeric, we have mustard, we have cumin, we have fennel, we put even red chili, which is, the seeds of red chili have been used to make medicines. Medicines for liver, for certain bacterial and viral infections. So everything that we have been using in the food, we are delivering medicine on a small scale every day into our body to maintain health, and to whenever we need to use as a therapeutic measure for healing, for all these emergencies, then we just use a little extra or make it, make some kind of a combination. So this particular thing that Ayurveda cannot be used in emergency is a wrong concept. We can absolutely use that for a lot of first aid things, including gastrointestinal problems. Like if somebody has constipation, somebody has a diarrhea, you can use so many remedies that can instantly stop your runs. So that's what I will share a few things. Now, one more important concept in Ayurveda is to understand your mind-body constitution. So Ayurveda does not say one size fits all. Okay, turmeric or certain examples, they can be applicable to everybody, because that particular herb has a certain energy that will work and deliver its effects no matter what constitution you have. But some other combinations, if they are used more with the knowledge, that will like literally hit the target. So we want to have everybody to know their own mind-body constitution. Recently, a couple of months ago, the government of India and the Ministry of Ayush had a big initiative of know your own Prakruti. They literally send this, because nowadays India, each and every citizen has a cell phone, and they can download the apps. So the government of India had this initiative that everybody needs to know their own mind-body constitution. So they started this massive thing about, know your constitution, and everybody was supposed to fill this questionnaire, or like, to get on, put their all their details, so that they could figure out if they are Vata Prakriti, Pitta Prakriti or Kapha Prakriti. And this will be, I mean, more bigger initiative than just knowing the census and your vaccination, because this is important information. What kind of a Prakriti you have will give you a lot of insights about your health and well-being, what are your natural tendencies and what will possibly go wrong with you. So if we are considering ourselves as a microcosm with the 5 Mahabhutas or 5 doshas, 5 elements in our body contributing to making the 3 doshas. So Vata dosha is the energy that helps us to move everywhere, and that is air and ether gunas or qualities. Pitta Prakriti, I'm not going to go too much into details because I had like many slides, but just because of the time, let's just quickly brush on it. Fire and water, so everything that enables for digestion, transformation and like creating a new thing into our body. So whatever food we eat, it creates our tissues, right? So it creates energy. So that whole transformation happens through fire and water, which is the Pitta, and the Kapha is the sustaining, holding, grounding energy that helps for growth, nurturing, regeneration and just taking care of wear and tear. So that is earth and water energy. So these 3 are called doshas, or they are called the basic body energies, and all of us have all the 3 doshas for our body and mind to function. Mind also has the 3 doshas, they are all called as 3 gunas. So the sattva quality is called more like openness and like more of a positive quality of mind, sattva quality. Then we have rajoguna, which is more of a motivating and very
passionate,
passion, confidence. And then we have tamoguna, which is more like a being like stable, calm, relaxed in a good way, and in a bad way, lethargy and ignorance. So we have all these 3 gunas, and then same thing with the 3 doshas. So our whole body, whatever is more significant, the way we behave, the way we come across people, or how we represent ourselves, that is called as our Prakriti, means our natural self. So if we are more dominant as a Pitta Prakriti or a Vata Prakriti or a Kapha Prakriti, similarly our mental attributes also will be dominant. So you will be either a very nice, kind, compassionate person, or you'll be like a go-getter, dashing, ambitious person, or you will be like happy-go-lucky and take life as it comes. So it all depends on how your personalities are. Physically also, you will either be a Pitta, Vata, like thin and slender, very active, or you will be a very medium but very active in sports and maybe in theater, or you could be a very laid back, very easy, gentle, little bit on the heavier side of normal. So these are all different physical attributes, mental attributes. Now when we want to personalize the medicine, so if I want to give you a home remedy or a quick some kind of a first aid, if I give you exactly same thing, maybe it will work to some extent, but if I really want to help you right away and make it like perfect for you, then if I already know your Prakriti, and in ancient times everybody's house, the grandmothers and the family members, they knew their Prakriti. We are kind of born in that household, so our Prakriti is well determined just because how our whole rest of the ancestry tree and rest of our family members are. So our Prakriti, everybody would in the family would know what kind of Prakriti. So then immediately they would pull out, okay, grind this, put this, make a paste of this, give it to this child. This child a little more Pitta Prakriti, give him this. So all the material that we have, we can still use the same thing but tweak a little bit about the ingredients or the quantity based on what Prakriti somebody has. Now the Prakriti concept also goes further into understanding the day and night times. So we have seasonal routine, daily routine, because the whole 24 hours of the day and the whole year is also divided into more Vata prominent time of the year, Kapha prominent time, Pitta prominent time. So you can understand, when certain diseases will be more prevalent or certain issues may come up more stronger. So Vata time of the year is the fall and winter time. Pitta time of the year is summer time, and the spring time when everybody develops all these spring allergies and we are just getting in out of that winter slumber into little bit of warmth and more rain. That is the Kapha time of the year. So we kind of revolve around different symptoms or different disorders that happen throughout the year, and that is how Ayurvedic pharmacy, you want to stock up certain medicines for this time of the year, for that. So we kind of
like
keep that, because in winter a lot of people will come with joint pains, constipation. In springtime, lot of people with allergies, asthma, those people will come. In summertime, people with skin rashes, digestive problems, those people will come. So all these things, we kind of keep that in our mind. And so in home, when there is a whole 2-3 generations living together, that was the normal thing. So people would know, the grandmother would give certain things based on these seasonal things. So my grandmother would actually make things at home. So in the winter, right after Diwali, like November, she would start making
sesame laddus.
Sesame laddus. Yes, this is the time of the year when you eat that. Sesame is very warming. And jaggery. And then you make these little balls, or you make the squares,
Chicky.
like brittle, and you can add some other nuts into it, almonds or peanuts most of the times, or even coconut to kind of match that heat. Some people have Pitta Prakriti, so if you put dry ground up coconut in that, it will equalize, it will balance out, because otherwise Pitta Prakriti people, it will be too heating. So all this, or like put some cardamom. Cardamom is cooling. So this knowledge the grandmothers or elder people in the home already had. So she would make that. She would also make, we call it alepak, like the ginger candy. So grate the ginger, put yeah, and then this is also the time of the year when you have the avla. Avla is the Indian gooseberry, which is the base of the Chyawanprash. So this is the only time in the year. It's a big tree. It gives millions and millions of fruits, literally, but only once a year. So you have to, whatever harvest you get, you have to all process it and make it right now. So Chyawanprash, but in homes, what they would do, it would come in the market in big, carts. People will be selling avla. So you can again grate it, make little chunks of that with sugar. Or they would make Chyawanprash at home also. Chyawanprash is little more tedious because you need another 20, 30, 40 herbs. But usually muravla or murabba they would make and keep it and store it, because that's not used right now. That is usually used in summer when you need more cooling qualities. So Chyawanprash with other 30, 40 herbs is used in winter. But the murabba that they would make at home, that was all like kept and made and kept it to, just kind of be there, sit there for 6 months. So it can be very effectively used for as a home remedy in summer when people have acidity or migraines or any heat related problems, heat stroke. So these were like very common things. Also rose petal jam. That's what my grandmother used to make. Sharad Rutu, Sharad Purnima, that time, all these country roses are very fragrant, not the hybrid ones. The ones that are fragrant, growing on the creepers, English roses, what they are called. Those were plucked, the petals were separated, and all these petals, just put it in khadi shakkar. So my grandmother would take a big clean jar of
rock candy.
Rock candy, rock sugar, which is crude sugar, not refined or bleached, to make sugar crystals. So the stage before that, stage after jaggery, but before actual crystalline sugar. And that sugar with rose petals, she would just mix those two things and put it on the rooftop, because for the whole month it should see the
sun,
moon. So in the morning she would bring it down, because otherwise you will have birds and ants and whatnot. but every night on the rooftop. So it was like covered with a muslin cloth, the tie the mouth, and then of course put it in a little bucket of water or a plate of water so that the ants don't bother. And every night she would go and keep it out. So the whole month it will be taking all the moon rays and making it more cool. So this was like a perfect rose petal jam. It would turn into a jam like substance by the end of that month, and it was stored, and that would last forever. Like, it didn't need any preservatives. None of these things that I'm telling you needs any preservatives, any additives, any colors, nothing. Wonderful flavors and the best home remedies. So there were fresh teas. So anytime my father was ever sick, which was very rare, but if he ever had any little bit of fever or something, she would go to the garden, pluck out some tulsi leaves. Tulsi everybody has. Lot of people in India also have parijatak. Parijatak leaves are very, very good for fever. They have best antipyretic qualities. And parijatak gutti, one of the pills used in Ayurveda, is for all kinds of viral fevers. And so parijatak leaves, tulsi leaves, ginger. She would even put bael leaves, the bael patra for Shiva that we put, and then some coriander seeds. And this was like, I still have that aroma in my memory, that how it would smell. And then she would strain that, add a little bit of honey, and give it to my father. 2-3 cups, all fever, all body ache, whatever was there, all gone. So many home remedies, and we never had to go to a doctor, just because everything was treated within 5 minutes. Everything like was ready, and you could treat. So these were like literally first aids as well as home remedies. So a few slides that I have. So 3 stages, like when we go through life, we have like the infancy and that very young child before the adulthood. That is called the kapha stage of life. So just like the day and night or the season, the kapha stage of life, when we are growing, we are absorbing everything, and there's lot of like growth spurs. So that time, most of the qualities in the body are going to be earth and water. So most of the children always face from the problems that they usually have is cough, cold, congestion, fever, all those things, or digestion issues. So these are the earth and water related issues, because that's the kapha stage of life. When it comes to puberty, so teenage years all the way till, for women, menopause, and for men, like whatever 55, 60, that's kind of the middle age, we call like midlife crisis. That whole time between the puberty to that middle age or senior age, that becomes the pitta stage of life, when we are very strong, confident, we are like ready to conquer the world, right? We want to do everything, and we have the confidence to do a lot of things. We take our education, we run our businesses, we grow our families, the reproductive hormones are very active. And then comes the third stage of life, where things start deteriorating. We start hearing less, our eyesight gets poorer, our physical capacity starts diminishing, and there are aches and pains. So that's the vata stage of life, when air and wind starts getting into the body more prevalent. So you will have digestion issues, constipation tendency, arthritis. So there's a lot of degenerative changes that also happen, memory loss. So we go through these stages. So according to Ayurveda, if we are going to use prophylactic treatments, we will still have to go through these stages, because body is called Shiryate iti shariram, something that is going to, like the day we are born, we are going towards our death. It sounds depressing, but that's the truth. So we are like countdown, right? We are constantly in a countdown. But how to graciously go towards that stage is most important. You don't want to be like sick for the last 10-15 years of your life. You don't want to be in a hospital or a nursing home, and somebody doing all your stuff like adult diapers, and that's like absolutely nobody wants that, right? So you want to be very healthy as you go through this body. and also mentally very strong, very able. So we want to keep people into that stage, and that is why we can do a lot of help, self-help, by taking good care of ourselves, by understanding these stages of life. Let me make sure I can. So the pediatric years, most of the things are kapha related: congestion, mucus, upper respiratory problems, and also nowadays you can see a lot of learning disabilities. Children are getting diagnosed with autism a lot, ADHD. So there are a lot of remedies that we can suggest to the parents that they can start doing at home. A lot of these things don't even have medication. So ADHD especially,
are they
even things.
Is ADHD and all that related mostly to Vata? Vata?
Yeah, because though it is the kapha stage of life, whatever they are getting exposed to, or even the parenthood, like when the mothers are conceiving, they're conceiving at a much later stage, like years.
Nowadays,
Or there are a lot of medicines that are used, hormones that are used, or even throughout the pregnancy there is no proper protocol. They are eating anything, drinking anything. Even postpartum care, that is just unheard of. In Ayurveda we have Suprajanan, where we give a proper protocol to the husband and the wife before they even plan to be parents. So So instead of people focus on buying a big house, making a baby nursery room, they are not focusing on their health. They are not thinking like how best baby they can create. They are just looking at the external things that they can give for the baby. So that is why we see a lot of these drawbacks. And then we can help a lot of children with this. Then first aid for a lot of these cough, cold, congestion. One thing is avoid the causative factors. So kids that are having for breakfast cold, congestive, yogurt, banana, milk, all these things, like nobody heats the milk, right? Nowadays it's coming a little bit into fashion, the golden milk, which is turmeric milk. Even Starbucks sells it now, the golden milk or the golden latte. So those things are coming in fashion. But if you in India, the child would always get milk boiled with peppercorns, vidanga, which is like a best deworming. It is used in deworming and for bedwetting. So vidanga is it looks like pepper or peppercorn, but not wrinkled on the surface. It's smooth on the surface, but similar size and similar like darker color. And that was always boiled. Like my younger brother is 4 years younger than me, and I still remember how his milk was put in the bottle. It was boiled with turmeric, with a pinch of ginger, and a couple of pinches of this peppercorn and the vidanga, because that helps. And if somebody is a very kapha baby, like big baby with lot of mucus, cough, chesty, asthma and things, then they would also put calamus. So calamus is another thing. Vacha, they would rub dry powder on the chest when the baby is sleeping, or keep eucalyptus oil. I know we heard a lot about the essential oils, and they are the best way. In Ayurveda also we use them as ark or like extract. They're very potent, very concentrated. And I think many essential oils also need to be diluted before using, just for the fact that they are very, very potent. So if somebody says that Ayurveda, allopathic medicine works very fast, try this. These work very fast. Yeah. So they can work really instantly because they are very concentrated extracts. And so this kind of a milk, if the child is drinking, it will work as a prophylactic. You never have any indigestion with milk, lactose intolerance. None of these things will happen. Milk is going to be boiled, so they will not have any problem of mucus, congestion, building up of all these things in the respiratory system. Then for a lot of people in India, or even in the areas which were controlled by the British. I've heard from West Indies and the Caribbean. We grew up with gripe water. So gripe water you can also make it at home, but it used to be sold in the pharmacies.
Yeah.
And for that you need to use dill seeds, dill seeds, ajwain seeds, and fennel seeds. And you can, for the babies, they would make it like just the vapor. The steam was collected and just that was used with the dropper, and that would take away all the colic, because a lot of babies, they have these vomiting or like colicky pains, and they are unable to digest the milk after the breastfeeding, then the cow milk, like in that transition many babies show that. So these were like all these home remedies or first aids that were given, and that would resolve the issue itself. Then when the child grows up a little bit, running around, and they would have bug bites, so camphor, neem, tea tree, all these essential oils are used, or you can make your own concoction. They will be very handy. Bedwetting, you can use amla powder, or if you have this amla murabba, that with some black pepper, you can give it to the child. It will be sweet, so it's easy to ingest. And most of the things for pediatric care, they were made into a prasha. Prasha means anything that is a jam-like preparation, or any medication that honey can be added to it.
Chavanprash.
Yeah. So there are many avalehas and prash. Brahmi prash, there are many avalehas and prash that are used. Brahmi is another thing that can be used for good memory. So children having learning disabilities, or slow learners, or grasping capacity is less, autistic kids, we give Jyotishmati, Saraswati and Brahmi. Very, very effective. There are also some remedies that we give through the nostrils. So it is called Nasya. Nasya is like the pathway used for reaching anything directly to the brain centers, and the best medium is oil. So any base oil like coconut oil or sesame oil is used, and then all these medications are delivered through that. Then there are lot of things for weight gain, like a lot of kids are skinny because they may have parasitic infestation. The parasites are eating all their food and nothing is coming to them, or they're just picky, choosy eaters. So then we can give them 1 pinch black pepper with honey and Himalayan salt and lemon juice, and that will help to keep their appetite. Also right from the childhood, like from age of 5, 10, like we give them this habit of yogasana, pranayama, like Surya Namaskar, that will invigorate the Agni, and like simple things like alternate nostril breathing, and those can be made into lot of fun events with their with their friends. So who can hold the breath for to the count of 20, and we always do that with kids, like who can stand on one leg for count of 1 minute, or like how to keep your hands like Tadasana or something. So we always can make it a fun event with their friends, like they love to compete, so you can do that with alternate nostril breathing and with simple exercises. So they'll get into the habit, or at least have a little bit of idea that these things are very much utilized for balancing and maintaining health. Then in puberty, in adult years, because pitta is prominent, so most of the things are related to digestive issues, metabolic problems, because hormones are also active. So metabolic problems like hypertension, diabetes, thyroid, those are there. Reproductive hormones are there, or any adrenal issues are there, because they also undergo a lot of stress. They have to work, they have families, they have in-laws, so a lot children, lot of things to worry about, right? Or all your monthly expenses and all these stressful things. So youthful years are great, but also that is when you start having actually developing diseases that you carry for the rest of your life. So that is where you want to take care of yourself, develop habits as early as possible, especially related to yoga and these kind of healthy habits. So a lot of people, especially younger adults, they have mood swings, anger issues, attitude issues. So we can use sandalwood oil, rose oil on marma points. So marma points, temple, third eye. There are also, I'm sure we can have lot of other essential oil formulas that can be used, but these are like some of the home remedies. And the marma points are like crucial points. Like you have traffic lights. When you travel, you have traffic lights, right? That's like a junction of several roads coming together, and that is where accidents can happen the most. That is where you can actually streamline and make everything go smooth. So marma points are like that. Those are the points in the body where several things are getting connected. It's a junction, and there are several on this, and you can access them on the surface. So what we call a surface anatomy, you can just access them on the surface, and at that junction, if something is going chaotic, it will not just affect that area, but it will go deeper. You must have heard about the chakras, and you must have heard about all these energy centers in the body or energy pathways in the body. So if we can pinpoint that marma point, which is again very big science, and any massage therapist or anybody who is dealing with like manipulative techniques on the body can have access to these marma points. They will exactly know how to use that. And even at home, like your own. So if I say wrist joint, you know the wrist joint, right? And right at the joint of the wrist, if you are going to put these, that will directly help to reach your mood and anger and mind. Same thing with the temple area. So you can probably use lavender also, right? Lavender can also help. It's very calming, very nervine for vata. When you have like too much anxiety and too much confusion, that can be used. When you have anger and mood swing, the cooling ones can be used. And the third eye. Third eye helps for focus, concentration. So sudden weight gain during puberty, that happens for many girls, many boys, because they are going through a growth spurt also, and hormones are playing a role. So that time also, healthy eating habits, good daily routine following, that is very important. And that's when they have the most bad lifestyle, because they eat out, they have late nights, they do all these of course they have to study, so sometimes they have that stress, exams, so that can all make that. So how to handle the stress is an important tool in Ayurveda, yoga, and we can make use of lot of home remedies as essential oils. Then some of the things for menstrual issues in girls, aloe vera gel is very, very good. It is called Kumari, and taking that on a regular basis if they have irregular periods, that will be very helpful. Fennel or olive seeds, that are also very helpful, that are also used in postpartum. When a woman has a child for breastfeeding, we use those seeds in the form of like a kheer, or we just soak it in water and put it in food. And you can give fenugreek. Fenugreek is also very helpful. Then other things are stress, handling the stress, sleep issues. For hypertension, there is a very good home remedy. We can use Rudraksha dipped in copper water, a Rudraksha bead, but it should touch your heart, the heart chakra. So wear it, not here like a choker, but wear it till it can reach your heart chakra. And that same good quality Rudraksha bead, not the fake one, the real one, keep it in hot water, and the hot water should be in a copper cup. That just makes that water ionized. Leave it all night. Empty stomach first thing in the morning, drink that water. That's a very good home remedy to maintain a healthy blood pressure. Then for diabetes also, lot of home remedies. People are taking medication, but they don't have to be lifelong on medication. If they really follow diet, lifestyle, manage their weight and manage their stress correctly, then they don't have to ever be on medicine. We have so many patients who have gotten rid of their insulin dependency completely. Even juvenile diabetes or secondary diabetes. And then this is one good simple home remedy: amalaki powder, fenugreek seeds, cinnamon powder, turmeric powder. And then this also, you can keep it all night in a glass, or you can keep it in a copper cup, or there is also a glass made up of a special type of wood. It is called Vijay Sara. You can even buy it on Amazon. It's a red, it's not red sandalwood, it's kind of a red wood which gives the color to the water, and they have made glass or cup like those apparatus, and then you can buy that, you can pour water in it, and that significantly reduces the blood sugar. So you can put this mixture in that glass and drink it if somebody has really very high sugar. Then other things we have for a lot of people are related to again hormones. So some of the remedies for painful periods, we can put aloe vera gel, ajwain, fennel, cumin, coriander, that kind of a tea, or castor oil packs on the lower belly. Even for constipation or any severe abdominal pains, if you take cotton ball soaked in castor oil and put it in the belly button, most of the people have a little dent there. Some people have it flat, but that area, if you just put the castor oil ball and just tape it, stays there all night, and you can use a heating pad. All abdominal cramps, whether they are related to digestion, constipation, irritable bowel syndrome, or even related to periods, reproductive, endometriosis, that will all be significantly lower.
Castor oil pads and all that. Castor oil pads and all that nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays they actually have thermal activated, so that can be very helpful. Now senior years, old age, they have the whole thing about vata imbalance because of the aging process. The wear and tear is more bigger than anabolic. So first aid for all the aches and pains, vata imbalance, you can again start the exercises and even massages, like a monthly massaging, if you can do that, going somewhere and getting it done. But on your own, you can do that daily, especially if you're living in colder weather. For all the fall and winter months, you can do a self-massage, Abhyanga. Instead of using lotions or creams, just use oils. And you can put essential oils if you have specific areas are painful, like ginger oil, or she told us about some of the oils that can be used for musculoskeletal, and that can be very, very helpful. Then eyes, people get lot of eye strain, so doing Trataka, like exercises of the eyes, that can help. And also you can put ghee, just plain cow ghee that you are going to eat in your food, keep it in a small vial, put it on near your bedside, and if you have really increasing glasses, the number is increasing, you have any other problems. Of course, we are also abusing the eyes too much nowadays with the use of cell phones, constantly on social media, everything like beeps and tings, and you want to look at the message, you want to look at all the Instagram and all the posts. So even in the middle of the night, there is a tendency, so keep your phone very far away, and when you're charging it, so that you're not tempted. And then you also want to use that ghee as an eye drop. So melted ghee, room temperature, 1 drop every night is the best rejuvenation, very cooling, very soothing, and it will regenerate your vision. Yeah. Then other thing, you can use the heart problem and the hypertension, I already told you. For memory, you can use Brahmi oil. Brahmi oil or Brahmi ghee. Ghee is better medium to put through the nostrils, especially for your brain tissue. So Brahmi Ghrut or Brahmi oil, both are available in small vials. They can be put up in the nostrils. And the way you want to put in the nostril is, you want to extend your neck over the edge of the pillow. So your head should be hanging down, or you can do it over the bed. So your nostrils have to literally face the ceiling. And then put 1 drop or 2 drops in each nostril, press the other nostril and inhale really strongly. You should feel it like reaching up. Unless you have like any polyps or any mucus congestion, everything will like feel like really going to your brain. The brain centers are like all your five sensory organs. Their centers are all located on your cerebrum, so it will awaken that, it will reach, it will lubricate that, and really give you that. It's also used for memory. So for stress, for memory, that will be a great one. Then kidney flush or taking gentle laxatives periodically like castor oil, that will be very good. And then if somebody has hemorrhoids in young age or older age because of constipation, that also can be healed with castor oil or neem oil pack. So I guess all throughout the life you can use Ayurvedic home remedies and Ayurvedic first aid, starting from home, and then start putting together your kitchen cabinet with all these natural herbs that you can find or you can grow in your patio. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you all of you to come and attend, and we are really working very hard to get the state of Florida pass the bill for health freedom. And from tomorrow with the inauguration, it feels a little bit hopeful that Make America Healthy Again initiative, if it really works, we can take advantage of that.
Let's hope.
Let's hope.
Hope and pray, right?
Yeah, but we have to pitch it in a good way, because many times what happens, if we are going to try to say like how great Ayurveda is, nobody's interested in that. We want to share with them how it is going to lower the cost of Medicaid and Medicare. That is the most important thing. And if all the senators who are going to sign on any bill get a clear and complete idea of that, so we are putting all our efforts into that, about how it will create more job market with Panchakarma centers, Ayurveda centers, all these midline people, because there's so much of there is a lot of people that do not have access to healthcare. They do not have insurance. So this is where we have to pitch our things correctly. Nobody's interested in knowing how great Ayurveda is. That is one thing that we have heard, we have learned in last so many decades. Yes.
So thank you, very wonderful talk, and Pati also very nice talk. So we learned, we know, and we have discussed this morning also, that how this Ayurvedic medicine and integrative medicine can help with allopathy also. For people like me who are allopathy doctors, I know a little bit about, just from seminars like this or other places. And in my residency, I'd done a month in integrative medicine, going to acupuncture, this and that. So I've always been a little interested. But how can we introduce it more? How can we learn more so that we can introduce it in our daily practice? Because of course, little knowledge is dangerous. So what would you suggest in that sense? Is there an online course we can do? Or?
Yeah, there are many courses actually. I teach even in Hindu University. Actually, this was a part of, some of my slides were a part of that. But I would actually propose Dr. Tadi that, Bhaktivedanta Medical Association should put together an Ayurveda course. I mean, that should be for all the doctors who are in this, association. Maybe we can just do it for the doctors.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we can, I'm going to share some, I'm actually, Ayush Shakti is a company from India. Those were my very first employers and my very first exposure to practical Ayurveda. So even after you take a degree at a university and become an Ayurveda doctor, you are not learning so much of practical as when you are thrown out into the world and really, so these people were my first mentors. They taught me Nadi Pariksha. So Nadi Pariksha is a very, very important thing in Ayurveda, but nobody teaches. You cannot learn it. It's more of an intuitive science. So it has remained like a very secluded, skilled art. So this technique, to learn it, you have to be very ready. You have to be very, passionate about it. You have to put in many, many hours and years. And what happened with this particular company or this doctor, Dr. Pankaj Naram, he was very popular in Mumbai. Every day, 200, 300, 400 people. Yeah, so I was very lucky. Right the day after my internship, I landed up in their clinic just out of curiosity and ended up working for them for 3 years. So after many years now, I have reconnected with them to. So I luckily had a few booklets which have lot of home remedies. Because that is where I learned so many home remedies, because whatever we learn at home is different, but then therapeutic home remedies, what I saw working on the patients, all these 200-300 and I was awestruck, because being a new Ayurveda doctor, I did not have so much exposure. I'll tell you quickly because you're a medical all the three of you. So there was an asthma patient, and this little kid was like gasping for breath. He came when he came to the clinic, he was like almost ready to collapse. And what this Dr. Naram did, he checked his pulse and he said, there's a avarodha of apanvayu. So the prana and apana vata, if they are misaligned, you can have like just superficial breathing and you can just be breathless or even die, because we know asthma, if you don't get the medicine right away, you can actually it can be fatal. So instead of putting anything here, he immediately asked the patient to take to the Panchakarma room, and he gave a big warm water and oil enema. It was a medicated oil, and the water was not just water, it was a Dashamula Kwat, because they had this whole center over there. So everything used to be cooked up and kept ready for any patient coming in with this kind of emergency. Within 5 minutes, that kid is like running around as if nothing happened. So nothing was given orally, nasally, nothing. All that they did was put a basti. So if you know exactly the causative factor and the pathogenesis, which is a very crucial aspect of Ayurveda, we call it Shat Kriyakal or Samprapti. So the 6 stages of disease formation, if you can pinpoint what stage, why, then you can do all kinds of these emergencies can be handled without any, no side effects obviously, and immediately. Like that was pinpointed by Nadi Pariksha, that yes, this is the avarodha of Vata. As soon as I realign the Vata and the Vata moves down and out, the breath, prana and Udana Kriya will get readjusted immediately. And I have seen these kind of home remedies working in their clinics. So I'm going to just share, I have a few booklets from them.
So you can. Is checking the pulse.
Huh?